French high-speed railways are often seen as a model example of high-speed rail in Europe, but are in severe lack of competition. Spain's national rail operator Renfe has recently joined Italy's Trenitalia as one of the few challengers to France's SNCF, and what is undoubtedly my biggest bargain of the year. Join me on this 8-hour, 1,100km journey as we travel from Marseille in the south of France to Madrid, the Spanish capital, at 300km per hour through the stunning Pyrenees. Now let's get this show on the rails. Bienvenue à Marseille-Saint-Charles, the main station serving France's second largest city and where our journey begins. This station dates back to 1848 and, as can be seen both inside and outside, still contains much of this near 200-year history within its design, despite the addition of multiple shops and amenities within it to bring it up to speed with the 21st century. The introduction of TGV services here in 2001 have dramatically reduced travel times to Paris and northern France, resulting in an uplift of passengers to over 70 million in normal traffic. This can make the station less enjoyable to navigate, but that's easily forgivable when you walk alongside the trees that blend well with this station's aesthetically pleasing design. As can be seen from the departure boards, our train is the only non-SNCF service shown. That's because it's operated by Renfe, the Spanish national rail operator, under its quote new AVE International banner. I say this because Renfe did previously operate in France, albeit in cooperation with SNCF, on services between Paris and Lyon to Barcelona and Marseille to Madrid. However, owing to the deteriorating relationship between the two operators, this cooperation ended in December 2022, as did Renfe's presence in France. Since then, SNCF continued to operate the Paris to Barcelona services on their own, which I will cover on the channel soon, whilst Renfe, after gaining its French operating licence and training its crew, relaunched the Lyon to Barcelona service in mid-July 2023, and Marseille to Madrid services followed at the end of the same month, so a few weeks before this video was recorded. For now, services on the latter route we'll be taking today will operate one round trip a day, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays and Mondays, until October when it will operate daily. The rolling stock used on the route is the same as that used on the routes before they were axed in December 2022. The S100, Spain's original high-speed train, built in the 1990s by Alstom and based on the French TGV Atlantique. This particular example was built in 1996. This may be a Renfe service, but it's still subject to the annoying SNCF style of pre-departure checks, which I find to be very disorganised given the amount of people boarding. That being said, if you take this journey from the Spanish end, you'll have to go through airport-style security and a stricter queuing system, so I know which one I prefer in this case. Contrary to my earlier statement, it was pretty swift on this occasion, and we're now ready to board our service bound for the Spanish capital. I usually tend to find white liveries to be rather boring, but I personally think Renfe pulled it off well here. What do you think? Anyway, I'll be in Renfe's standard class offering, which on the AVE services have recently changed from Turista to standard as part of a reform of Renfe's fare structure. This is in a 2x2 configuration featuring both tables and airline style seating. However, I've gone for the latter on today's trip. That being said, let's take our seat and go through today's route. Starting from Marseille-Saint-Charles, our route will see us navigate the south of France through numerous high-speed lines, as well as the conventional line on the section of the route between Nîmes and Perpignan, before blasting through the Pyrenees towards Spain and the high-speed line through Catalonia towards Barcelona. From Barcelona, we take one last stretch on one of Spain's most popular high-speed lines, calling at Tarragona and Zaragoza, before arriving into Madrid's Atocha station at around 3:45 this afternoon. I'm really looking forward to this, and the best part is, I'm taking you with me, so sit back and enjoy the ride. We depart Marseille Saint-Charles on time at 8:03 am Central European Time. Ten minutes later, we arrive into our first stop of Aix-en-Provence TGV, one of two strategically placed high-speed stations on the portion of the LGV Méditerranée our service will take today. Following this, it's straight onto the high-speed line, where we reach the S100's top speed of 300 km per hour, though the line speed is 320 km per hour and only achieved by the TGV duplex and réseau trains that frequent the line. This is one of my favourite high-speed lines in France. On nice days such as this, we get to experience some stunning scenery that can only be offered in the south of the country, though it only gets better as we head closer towards the Mediterranean coast. Avignon TGV is our next station call. Unlike Aix-en-Provence, this station is also served by a shuttle TER link to Avignon City Station, around 6 kilometers from here, which can be seen to the right. Did you know as well that parts of Mr. Bean's Holiday were shot here too? Though it hardly surprises me given it features a lot of TGV trains. As we leave, we cross over the River Rhône, and to the right is the Palais des Papes, which can normally be seen in the distance, one of the largest and most important medieval Gothic buildings in Europe, though it's sadly not visible from our single-decker S100 train. Which brings me on to the features of the S100 now, starting with the seat. As with most TGV trains, the seat comfort is amazing, though this is easily the best of the second-class offerings within the family. That being said, I did find the seat pitch a bit poor, though the legroom was great. There's also a footrest just in front, but if you've been around here for a while, you know I rather dislike these. Foldable armrests are in the middle and aisle of each seat pair, and the standard European power outlet is just below the middle one. Though owing to the size of my adapter, I was unable to use the armrests for most of the journey. There's also an old entertainment system which still operates. Renfe usually play films for passengers using the screen seen here, though this didn't seem to operate until we approached Madrid. The tray table was a reasonable size, and there was a storage net for bags and coats below, though for the latter you may want to use the coat hanger next to the window. Below the seat is a bin for storing small amounts of rubbish, and just above is a reading light that's relatively easy to reach. Finally, there's a draw-down blind to reduce the sunlight if you need, as it can get pretty harsh at this time of year in both countries. Overall, a very nice second-class interior. I'm very impressed, especially for the price that I paid. As we exit the high-speed line and approach Nîmes, do watch out for the old roundhouse, which preserves some of SNCF's iconic locomotives. From here, we run on the lower speed conventional lines, though this route is due to be upgraded to high-speed operation in the coming years. Montpellier Saint-Roch, the main station serving the largest city in the Occitanie region of France. From here, we traverse the Mediterranean coast and are treated to some incredible views and landscape, though this is only just the beginning. Oh, and here's your quick reminder to support me by subscribing to the channel, which is free and the best way to support my work. Thanks! In addition to its standard class offering, Renfe also has first class on board, branded Comfort Class, which is seen here and makes up 2 coaches of this 8-carriage S100 set. This is available at a relatively large premium compared to what I paid for standard, and features 2x1 leather seating, which is much more roomy and comfortable. And similar seating is featured at the front in the Sala Executive Club area, though I'm unsure as to whether this is still operational or not. If you know, please leave me a comment below. We then arrive at Béziers. As we leave and cross the River Orbe, we have a brilliant view of the city's stunning 13th century cathedral and the Orbe aqueduct. Architectural marvels like this make me want to properly visit this part of the south of France in the not too distant future. One trend I've noticed with the stations leading up to Perpignan is the stunning train sheds that accompany almost every station on the line. At Narbonne, we can see a Lyon-bound AVE highlighting this perfectly, which is the return leg from Barcelona. As we travel further down the Mediterranean coast, we pass more étangs, or small lakes, and marshland, from which we can observe the magnificent flamingos which frequent the section of the line between Narbonne and Perpignan, our last stop in France. Arriving into Perpignan, note the station sign has both the French and Catalan name, signifying that we are close to the Spanish border into Catalonia. To be honest, I was expecting things to be quieter from here, but it was the exact opposite. A large number of passenger loadings boarded at Perpignan as we rejoined the high-speed line towards Spain and headed towards the Pyrenees. We're now on the Perpignan to Barcelona high-speed line, which opened fully in 2013 and shaved a couple of hours off of cross-border services between France and Spain. However, only a few trains per day serve the line, including Renfe services, which shows just how underutilised the line really is. My hope is that SNCF and Renfe increase frequencies in the future. Anyway, nearing our top line speed of 300 km per hour, we blast through the 5.2 mile Perthus tunnel. This is fairly similar to the Channel Tunnel between the UK and France, in that emerging from it, we cross the border into Spain, and shortly afterwards, we arrive at our first stop, the town of Figueras, located just outside of the Spanish-French border. A lot of services here are an extension of those between Madrid and Barcelona, as seen by the Ouigo España TGV duplex to the left, which I will be having a look at soon, so do subscribe so you don't miss out. After Figueras, I decided to go to the cafe bar in Coach 4 and get something to eat, one of the novelties of trains in Europe. It wasn't obscenely priced to be fair, and compared to other TGV variants, there's definitely a much wider scope for enjoying the views of the stunning Spanish landscape. That is, until we enter the tunnels into Girona and Barcelona Sands. The majority of people got off at Barcelona. The heat was very apparent too during the brief moment I stepped off the train in an attempt to get some fresh air. From here, our service acts as a typical Barcelona to Madrid semi-fast train, owing to our final two stops of Tarragona and Zaragoza, resulting in a journey time of around 2 hours and 45 minutes. AVE services on this route are mainly run using Siemens Velaro Class 103 trains, like the one in the background, but again, I'll look at this in more detail soon. We're on the move again and pick up a good part of the delay we picked up into Barcelona. To the right are the wider Iberian gauge tracks used by local trains, though Spanish high-speed rail uses standard European gauge to allow better connectivity with the rest of Europe. Case in point here, with AVE services between Spain and France. At speeds of 300 km per hour, we're able to view some amazing Spanish terrain and mountains as we head closer towards the capital. Though it's worth noting the highest speed on the line is 310 km per hour, as is usually done by AVE's S103 fleet. Our first stop on the line is Camp de Tarragona. Like in France, this is one of the strategic out-of-town high-speed stations on the Madrid to Barcelona route, with the literal translation being Tarragona countryside, and where the trains surprisingly got a lot busier. To the right is Renfe's S130 high-speed train, nicknamed as El Petito or Duckling due to its cab front design. These trains utilise gauge-changing technology and can run between the standard and Iberian gauges, making them very versatile. One thing I haven't checked out yet is the toilets, so let's go. I've gone for the one located just out the Sala Executive Club room. And door locked, and we can begin. It's very spacious and incredibly clean, almost as if it's the first service of the day. Also do note that unlike the French TGVs, the flush button is not a foot pump, but instead a push button here. Everything works as it should, so that's a thumbs up from me. Right, time to head back and complete the journey to Madrid. To access our last intermediate stop, Zaragoza Delicias, we have to exit the high-speed line and enter a series of tunnels. This is the halfway point between Madrid and Barcelona. As well as the name, I'm sure you'll agree that the station design is just as delightful. Well, as we rejoin the high-speed line, we're now coming to the end of today's journey. So what are my thoughts? Well, I paid €29 for 8 hours and 1,100 kilometers on a high-speed train, and that's pretty much unbeatable. The crew were amazing, the S100's ride quality and comfort was impeccable, and there was, and still is, stunning scenery on our route to the Spanish capital. I bet you're wondering why Renfe made this train so cheap. This was a special offer for the launch of Renfe's solo operations in France, and they even offered €9 fares for destinations within France as part of it, meaning you can get from Lyon or Marseille to Perpignan for less than the price of a TER local train. Looking online outside of the sale, I found the cheapest fares in standard to be €142 for this journey, a few months in advance, so it looks like I got a pretty good deal there. The only thing that would make this service better is increased frequencies between France and Spain, even if it's only from Perpignan to Barcelona. It would definitely encourage better use of the train and enable city centre to city centre journeys, such as this, to be a lot easier, even if it's through a simple connection. As we pass the depot where Renfe and the open access operators maintain their fleets, we arrive into Madrid's Atocha station in the city centre, where we have successfully picked up the delay and made it on time. Now it's over to you. What are your thoughts on Renfe's return to France? Have you used them since services resumed? Do let me know in the comments below. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like and share it to aid the channel's growth, and do consider subscribing and enabling notifications for more content such as this every Friday at 5 PM UK time. One upside about the arrival is there's time to admire the amazing tropical garden that adorns Atocha's original train shed. I highly recommend visiting it. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.